My bad, bro. Let me fix that real quick.
Bro, whoa! Yes! Fixed it!
Hi everyone, Cherry here again. Today, we continue with the topic of AI Psychosis. In the two previous parts, we unpacked the what this problem actually is, and the why it happens. And today, we are going to fold all the remaining questions into a single part. Who lit the fuse? What's actually new here? Where it's hiding? And most importantly, what we should do. Who, when, where, and how, all in one breath. First, who lit the fuse? It's Mitchell Hashimoto. If you've ever heard of Terraform, Vault, or Consul, then yes, he's the one who created them as a co-founder of HashiCorp. In other words, this isn't some guy who hates AI and went online to grumble. This is the person who personally built the tools the whole industry runs on, and more importantly, he lived through the cloud era, the time when the entire industry fought fiercely over MTBF and MTTR. So when he says, "I smell smoke," it's worth pausing for a second to listen. And he is far from alone. A whole lineup of veteran engineers nodded along in agreement, like Adam Jacob, the father of Chef, like George Hod's tiny grad crew, with a line for the ages. It now takes 20 minutes to figure out the AI is talking nonsense, instead of just 10 seconds like before. Or Darren Shepherd, a serious Kubernetes heavyweight. What do they all have in common? They've all run real systems at real scale, so they understand all too well the bill for "just ship the bug, let the agent fix it later" will eventually arrive. It just arrives late. Of course, there's also a camp that pushes back. "Oh please, it's just a cargo cult. I trust AI more than the average programmer." But do you see the funny part? That very harsh, extreme reaction is the clearest evidence for what Hashimoto is saying when Con is willing to sit down and have a reasonable conversation anymore. That, right there, is a psychosis. But the most powerful character stands the shadows. It's the venture capitalists, the VCs. Listen to this number. The money poured into commercializing AI is now larger than the atomic bomb, the US interstate highway system, the International Space Station, and the Apollo program combined. When you've bet that big, no one is allowed to say the emperor has no clothes. More than 90% of investors today only fund AI, and so every company slaps on an AI label. Everyone slaps on an AI label. So, is there anything new here? The answer is a bit blunt. No. This is a rerun. Hashimoto has watched this movie once already, back during the shift to cloud, the period from 2010 to 2015. The same MTBF-vs-MTTR war. The same philosophy of treat servers like cattle, not like pets. And the lesson from back then was very clear. Fast recovery is great, but it does not replace building something that rarely breaks in the first place. And history loves a rerun. Toyota once beat America's big three automakers by caring about quality at the source, instead of firefighting at the end. The dot-com bubble also burst by this exact script. It's the same old movie, just with a much bigger budget this time. And the forecast? You'll be 10 plus years, chaotic and also fascinating. And the next 2 to 5 years is exactly when the AI psychosis companies slam into the wall of technical debt. Next, where is this psychosis hiding? On the map, it's easy to guess. Silicon Valley is the eye of the storm, then New York, London, Beijing. But for an engineer, the scarier where is sitting right inside your stack. Just take a look. AI writes the code, then AI reviews that very code, then AI writes the test for the code it just wrote. See the problem yet? It's grading its own homework. Then AI also writes the infrastructure config and fixes incidents without understanding where the root cause is. And here's the fatal detail. The trick of just patch it fast, that is MTTR, only works where you can still push an update. A web app is fine, but a library, a mobile app, a piece of firmware, or a smart contract already on the blockchain, then sorry, there's no undo button. You can't patch something that's already in the hands of millions. And who in the company is most likely to catch it? Usually the senior bosses under VC pressure, the product managers racing deadlines, and the juniors who've never witnessed a single real production incident. Who resists best? The veteran SREs and security folks, the ones who've been woken up at 3 in the morning enough times to stop believing in magic. And now the most important question. What should we do? The good news is, the formula is nothing fancy. Treat MTBF and MTTR as a pair. Don't sacrifice one for the other. Always keep a human who truly understands the system. Don't let AI play both the player and the referee. And defend in layers. That's it. It sounds boring, but it works. Even the law is now leaning this way. The US is still loose, but a few states have started to tighten, and Europe has gone in hard, passing laws that require high-risk AI systems to have human oversight. Meaning, the loop of the agent ships on its own, then the agent fixes on its own, is now against the law. The law books, it turns out, agree with Hashimoto. So, what about us here in Vietnam? Honestly, we're sitting right in the sensitive zone. Pressure to ship fast from outsourcing, a whole forest of young juniors, plus a fintech and e-commerce culture that's always in a hurry. A full set for a perfect storm. But here's the good news. The US and Europe had to pay the price with their own disasters to learn the lesson. And us, we get to learn for free from other people's accidents. Nice, right? That lesson, put simply, is just a few steps. Review which AIs your team is actually using. Turn on observability to see the truth instead of guessing. Require a human to review the code. AI writes, a human guards the gate. Never ever let AI both write and approve itself. Respect Decree 13 on personal data protection. Run a few small incident drills. And write the response run book in advance, before the fire breaks out, not when it's already burning and you're panicking. Oh, and please drop 2 classic habits. The tick of being afraid to push back on the boss, and the catchphrase, let's grab a beer first, we'll fix the bug tomorrow. Don't wait until some big e-wallet or some e-commerce platform loses of its data because of AI written code before you scramble into action. Let's wrap it in one line. We can't withstand the pressure from investors, nor can we change the psychology of the crowd. But the technical layer is the home turf of engineers, and our job is to force the truth to show itself through data. That is the real way to put out the AI psychosis. Not by hating AI, but by not letting a single illusion survive once the data shines a light on it. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you liked it, please hit like and subscribe. Even if you didn't like it, please still hit like and subscribe. Lots of love!